This week on Sport Fishing, we're going to catch a sunrise on a shuttle boat as we head out of Alley Harbor Sport Fishing to spend some time aboard the Annie B barge. For experienced anglers, the Annie B provides an easy and affordable day's fishing. For those new to saltwater angling, the Annie B provides an enjoyable way to learn the sport and catch plenty of fish doing so. So stay tuned for today's episode of Sport Fishing.
Sport Fishing with Dan Hernandez is brought to you by Sport Chalet and by Berkley Trilene, super strong fishing line.
Hi, I'm Dan Hernandez. I'd like to welcome you to this week's episode of Sport Fishing. Well, today we're going to show you basic saltwater angling, and in a few moments we're going to be boarding the Annie B, the barge right behind me, and we're on the shuttle boat right now going to it. Now the shuttle boats, you catch them either out of Alley Harbor Sport Fishing or the Belmont Pier, and they run every hour out to the barge. And today we're just going to show you the basics of what you need to become a saltwater angler. The majority of the fish taken on a barge will be taken on live bait. But what I'm going to try here, this is a little freshwater lure. It's a Castmaster, it's made by Acme. And you know, this is designed for trout fishing. But for barge fishing, this is all you really need. You can use this or just go with the straight live bait hook. But for the moment, I'm just going to show you what it's like to use an artificial lure. And then the rod I have is a light spinning rod, small spinning reel, and we only have 10-pound tests. I know for saltwater fishing, you might think that's light. But really, for this type of saltwater fishing, it's plenty. It's all you need. Some of the people are fishing with as light as 6-pound test line, and probably the heaviest you need for, especially fishing on this barge, the Annie B, would be about 15-pound test. Now I just casted it out, not a long cast. Remember, the fish that are around here are feeding off the baits that are on the barge and that the people are using. So the fish will be close to the barge. So just go ahead and cast it like I did and just work it back. Notice the speed that I'm working this lure back. It's not a real fast speed, it's just a nice, easy speed. And what you want to have is just that lure moving from side to side. Just work it nice and slow and easy. And just wind it all the way back in. If you don't get bit, you just do it again. That's all we're doing. Just wind it nice and easy. Let the lure do all the work for you. We got a little bump there. Yeah, all right. Just fishing that freshwater lure. Come on. Like I said, you know, you can just go ahead and use your tackle that you probably already own, that freshwater gear. What do we got here? Oh, another little mackerel. It's still fun. Here we go. Mackerel just attacked that lure. Came up and ate it. Little Pacific mackerel. We'll just let him go. There he goes. That's part of the fun out here fishing. Well, like I said, we're just using this little lure, just working it slow. Then we got the little spinning rod and the small reel, and just basic freshwater gear, and it works fine out here on the barge. Well, before we get too much into the equipment and tackle for today's fishing, why don't we visit the tackle box and get a good look at these rods and reels.
The Tackle Box. Tips and information to help every angler improve their chances on the water. This week, the Tackle Box is brought to you by the San Diego Sport Fishing Council.
The gear that you're going to be using for barge fishing is really basic and very, very simple. If you have any gear in your garage right now for maybe local freshwater fishing, for largemouth bass, or even bluegill fishing, for the most part, that gear will work fine for barge fishing. You don't need to spend a lot of money to get started in saltwater fishing. Now, the basic rig that I would use would be something like this. This would be a small spinning reel. This particular model is made by Penn, and it's a small light action Penn graphite rod. Now, all you want to put on this outfit is just a straight live bait hook. And all you're going to do is tie it straight on Palomar knot, and then go ahead, pin a live bait on there and just cast it out. No sinkers, no nothing. You want that bait to stay right on the surface, feed it out line, and just let the bait swim around the barge. And the bonita and the mackerel, as they swim through, they'll bite that. Now, if you don't want to fish the surface and you've caught a few bonita, you want to try something different, go ahead and tie on what I call a reverse dropper loop. Now, the normal dropper loop, you would slide the hook into the line and then make the loop. Well, what we're going to do, I'll tie one for you, is the way I like to do it for halibut, is to go ahead and put the sinker in the loop. So you slide that on, you make a loop, and then you just wrap the line. I like to go 4 or 5 times. And you just go like that. And then where you have this loop, you'll slide your sinker right through that. Just let it fall through, and then just wet the line. There's your loop. That's where your sinker is. And then give yourself a little bit of leader there. You want a good 2 to 3 feet, and then tie your hook on. Now I'm just going to go ahead and tie on a Palomar knot. So you fold the line in half, slide it through, and just tie a regular overhand knot. And once you do that, you go ahead and slide the hook over that. And then you just go ahead and wet this a little bit so it slides smooth. And then pull down, cinch it. Now remember, we always talk about never pulling down real tight with just your fingers. You always want to use a pair of dikes or pliers or something. That's what I have here. And then pull that down. And if your line should break, you want it to break now before you have a bait on there, a hook of fish. And this is your finished rig. You'll just have your sinker down on the bottom, your live bait hook here, and because your sinker is down on the bottom like that, your live bait can swim around a little bit. And because the leader is only a foot or two, at the most 3 feet long, the bait can't get too far off the bottom. Halibut's down here on the bottom, sees that bait, he'll come up and attack it. We'll return in a moment with more fishing from the Annie B barge. And a little later, we'll show you a simple and delicious recipe for preparing calico bass. Yeah, we're getting our live bait right now. This is the bait that we'll be using. These are anchovies, different sizes and stuff. And this is what we'll be using to catch the mackerels and the bonita. Let's put that in the well. This is a bait boat right here. You can see a large sport fisher here. This is the El Dorado. It's coming in to pick up its live bait. And normally what the boats will do is just go to the bait receivers and pick up the bait, but the weather was bad yesterday and the bait boat didn't go out, so the bait receivers are out of bait. So that's why you see the sport boats coming to the bait boat to get their bait so they can get out there quicker. And since we're anchored here on the barge doesn't move at all, the bait boat has to come to us. And that's what we're doing. We're just filling up all the bait wells on the barge with live bait, and then the crew will actually chum some of this live bait over the side to attract the mackerels and the bonita to the barge. The majority of the fish taken on the barge will be taken on live bait. Now, to start out live bait fishing, I have a pin rod. This is a spinning reel, and this is our custom power stick rod. And we have a pin spinning reel. And what we're going to do is just go ahead and attach a live bait hook. Now, you can have a wide selection of live bait hooks, different sizes. Now, I recommend you bring at least like a size 6 all the way up to maybe a size 2, depending on the baits. The anchovies we have today, I'm going to go ahead and use a size 4 hook. So I just pick one out of here. These are just must-add live bait hooks. The way I like to tie this on is to use a Palomar knot. So we're going to go ahead, slide it through double, bring it all the way around, and basically tie an overhand knot like that, and then slide the line over the hook. And before you tighten it down too much, just wet it. It's a tiny bit, so it slides better. And remember, never just pull the hook with your fingers. Grab a pair of dikes or pliers or something, and then pull down on it. Just in case it slides out, you don't want to drive that hook into your finger. Now we got that on there nice and tight, and we'll just take the tag in, this extra piece of line, and just cut that off. And this is what it looks like. You just have your hook like that. No sinkers involved or anything. Remember, we're fishing for bonita and mackerel, and those fish will stay up right up on the surface. All we have to do now is pin on a live bait and we're ready to fish. Okay, now that we've selected our rods and reels and we're ready to fish, we got our hook tied on. All we have to do now is pick out a live bait. Remember, this is live bait fishing, so you want to be careful with the baits. You don't want to crush them. You don't want to kill them. You just grab it like that, nice and lightly. And I'll just slide my thumb over its nose and then take the hook and place it right behind the gill. That's called gill hooking a bait, just like that. Now we're ready to cast. We'll just walk over to the rail. Now when you cast, it's real important that you make sure there's no one behind you. Now, you don't have to worry about hitting the water. The ocean's big, lots of it. You don't want to hook somebody in the head or, with a hook. So you just go ahead, look behind you, just toss it out and just loft it out there. Now remember, we're not using any weights at all, so what we're doing is fly lining a bait. You got a fish going here. There we go, there's a mackerel and fly line bait. So all we're doing is just letting our bait swim out there. And oh, we just got bit. Now let them run a little bit. We're getting bit right now. See the line coming off the reel? Now we're just gonna go ahead and slam the, come on. Yeah!
All right.
There we go. See what we got this time. Ooh, this might be a nicer bonita. Coming through. See what we got here. It's a nice bonita.
Is it a bonita?
Yeah, it's a nice bonita.
Oh, don't lose it.
No, we'll get them. We'll get them up here. Let them tire up a little bit. This would be a nice fish even on a half day or 3/4 day boat. For the barge, this is great. Just gonna bounce them up, see where the hook is. Oh, he's not ready to come up yet. The hook is just slightly inside his mouth there. Okay. There we go. Let's see if I can bounce him up. Boy, he is not ready to come in, but here we go.
You're bringing it.
Here we go. This is a bonita. This is what we're trying to catch. Let me see if I can get the hook out of it. There's that live bait mustad hook. Worked great. And this is the fish here. It's a beautiful fish. They can get quite a bit bigger than this, but for barge fishing, this is a nice sized fish. And we'll just go ahead and release this one. Let him go. No, we'll just let him go. Here we go. He's ready to go. There he goes.
Come
on, reel it in, girl.
Bring it in.
Is this your first fish?
Yeah, hers, yeah. Get it, Chris.
There you go, there you go. Take your time, take your time. There it is.
Oh, that's a
Oh,
All
it's nice and easy. No, don't worry, don't worry, don't worry.
Let her do it, let her do it, let her do it.
Just spin. There you go.
We don't want it to get away with it.
There you go.
Man, it's a big one.
Reel it in.
She's got it going.
It's mine is light too.
Oh, a big mackerel.
Bring it, Daddy. Bring it. No, you reel it in, Carissa.
All right. Okay, this is Joe and Carissa, his daughter, and she's out for her first fishing trip, and she just caught her first fish. What did you think of it?
Yeah, beautiful.
Did you like that?
Look at the camera.
This big mackerel, look at that. It's our first fish ever. You gonna release that or you gonna keep it?
I keep it.
Gonna keep
I'm gonna
it?
eat it.
All right.
It's our dinner.
Congratulations, now you're a fisher lady.
Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Show your fish.
That was good.
The Galley, recipes and tips for preparing your fish at home. This week, the Galley is brought to you by Acme Lures.
This is Monty. He's a chef aboard the Shogun. How you doing,
Hi,
Monty?
Dan.
And Monty's going to prepare calico bass for us in one of his favorite styles. You know, the Shogun, because it does multi-day trips, has a huge kitchen here. And because of that, Monty's able to do more than just make the traditional hamburger that you have in your party boat. So why don't you go ahead and show us what you can do with this calico bass, Monty?
All right. These are 2 calico bass fillets that I've washed off, and I'm going to dry them real good so that I don't have any moisture on the grill. Like this. I'm going to be cooking them in a little butter base here. Like this here. Lay them on the grill. Just like that. Not a whole lot. This butter is low in sodium too. And I'm going to season them real lightly here. Just a little Cajun seasoning. You want to do it very, very light. As a matter of fact, if you're not into spicy foods, you can cook this fish just the way it is, just with a little butter, so it won't stick on the grill, and it'll be very enjoyable. Calico bass is a real treat. Calico bass is about the only fish that's fresh that comes out of the ocean that never has an odor. You can cook it in your home, you can have company, you never know you cook fish in your house. Okay, and we're going to lay our fish on here like this. I hope you guys are hungry here. And here you have it, something you can't get in a restaurant.
Well, Monty, this seems like a very simple dish to do at home. What do you have here? Just 2 calico fillets, a little bit of seasoning.
A little Cajun seasoning, a little butter, a little garlic salt, that's all.
And we just put it all on a bed of rice, and we have our vegetables. And I noticed when you were preparing it, you're saying calico bass, you don't need to put too much seasoning on it.
No, it's the quality of the fish. Sometimes some people don't even use any. Just a light seasoning so to flavor it a little bit.
And we didn't cook this very long, just flipped it over one time.
Yeah, cooked it on 350 degrees and turned it one time. You tell when it gets a little white here, a little soft. Calico bass should be a little moist. You'll know when it's done. You put your fork in, it'll glide right through it.
Okay, well, this is definitely done, and I'm definitely going to take a piece of it. That's great. You did a great job. Well, thanks a lot, Monty.
My pleasure.
I appreciate this very much. I'm going to take the rest of this.
Enjoy it.
This is Paul standing beside me, and he's one of the co-owners of the Annie B Barge. And Paul, for our viewers, can you give them a little information on when the barge is open during the winter months?
During the winter months, we're open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We fish 24 hours on Friday and Saturday. Prices range from $15 to $8, depends what time you come out here.
Now, for $8, how long can they fish on the barge?
Roughly 4 or 5 hours.
That's pretty good for $8, but $2
like
an hour.
11:30 in the morning and fish till 3:30. They'll bring you back at 3:30 for $8.
And for that $8, that includes all their live bait that you have available here.
The fare out here,
And the shuttle back and forth.
Shuttle back and forth.
That's a great deal. And for our viewers out there, a lot of people that watch our show have never been fishing. They can come out here and they shouldn't feel intimidated because a great number of these people are first timers.
We have women, children, we got sometimes 2 generations, 3 generations of people out here.
Yeah, I know that's a lot of young people.
It's a good place to start, and it's inexpensive. You should have a fishing license to be out here, California law. Pick up the boat at 11:30 in the morning for the half day, about 10 o'clock out of Belmont for the half day.
Oh, that's great.
The shore boat's coming in from Belmont Pier now, about a half-hour run.
Well, thank you very much for inviting us out.
Thank you, Darren.
Let's see if I can get me a
It's a big
fish down here on the bottom.
one. Legal one.
I got some. I just hooked this fish, fishing on the bottom with a live anchovy. I'm just kind of dragging it along the bottom. It's one of the nice things about fishing here on the barge. You can get a variety of fish. This gentleman just caught a smelt. He's got another one going here. We got a young girl over here fishing for the perch. Had some bonita and mackerel coming up, and I have no idea what this is. You fish the bottom along here. It could be anything from a tomcod to a halibut to, what's a halibut?
Short halibut.
We got a halibut here. And they often catch legal size halibut This is a small halibut this time. And you can see the rig there that we got. This is a dropper loop rig. And just bounce them up. Here's the halibut. It's a short halibut. In California, halibut have to be 22 inches. I doubt this one will be even close to that. We'll just go ahead and take the hook off them real gently. Remember, they have to be 22 inches, so you want to be careful with them. That's a halibut, California halibut right there. And one of the unique features about this fish is it has both eyes on one side. See them there? And then the other side is white. But they have the two eyes on one side, and they just lay like this in the sand, ambush their bait. As the bait fish swims over them, they come up and attack them. So we'll go ahead and release this little guy. Let him get a little bit older. There you go. There he goes. Next week on Sport Fishing, the calm waters led no clue to the incredible action. Join us as we take you on another close and affordable day's angling in Newport Harbor. We'll be right back after this with Fish Tales.
Fish Tales is brought to you by Checkpoint Hook and Knife Sharpeners.
This week's Fish Tales comes to us from Steve Walker of La Habra, California. Steve was fishing aboard his 25-foot Fairlawn, the Seaweed, when he hooked up with this 35-pound lingcod. Nice catch, Steve. For being our fish tale this week, Steve will hook up with a free copy of my book, Saltwater Fishing Adventures. Remember, every fish tale used on the air receives a free book. Send your fish tales, photos or videos, and any questions or comments to Sport Fishing, P.O. Box 90, Montebello, California, 90640.